The Woods is here contributing. We thank you so much for being here. Appreciate that. And the comment here is it feels so rewarding to be a loyal Hurricanes fan. We've suffered so long, Hurricanes gang. The complete overall from the hires of the AD Radovic to Super Mario down to all the exceptional assistant coaches.
Yeah, I mean, it does. And the thing about it, people are like, oh, well, you're fair weather fans or bad fans and everything. Y'all all know because y'all are here with me every week and everything. Been here in storm and sunshine. Like, after the Notre Dame game, after the Duke return game, after all those, and then after the Clemson loss, after, Florida State losses, things like that, through, again, it's storm and sunshine, like a bleed orange and green. I've been here. And you all have been with, the Hurricanes through this whole time as well. And yeah, it seems that things are going in a positive direction. We're spending money. We're getting the kind of coaches that we want to be here. It seems like we, obviously did well with recruiting with the 5th highest per player star average in America. Now, the quantity was low, but the quality was unassailably high. I was going back and forth with Mike Farrell from Rivals about this. And he's like, oh, yeah, like there's a small class with Cristobal. I said, cool, you talk about the quantity. Let's talk about the quality. He's like, well, they're 15th. And I was like, yeah, but like if we're talking about this small size, right, because the next smallest class was ranked, 57th, I think we looked up last week. So if you're talking about in terms of quantity, that's where, par would be. If then that small number of players is ranked 15th, that then speaks to the incredibly extraordinarily high quality of the component pieces of that group. Do you not agree, Mike? And he's like, 15 is not good enough. And I'm like, see, but you're missing the point, sir. You know what I mean? With all due respect to him, I'm not saying that he's bad at his job or anything like that, but you cannot have it both ways. You cannot say that there's a small group, and then when I say, okay, let's talk about the quality of the individuals of that group, you're like, oh, it's 15th. It's actually way higher than that because of the dearth of numbers, which you just said. It's simple math. It's simple math. If you have very few players and a very high total rating at the end, that means that the quality of the players of the few that you have is incredibly high. It does not, can I get $100, Mark? Cool. Do you want 100 ones? No, let me get a $100 bill. That has more value. It is very simple. And like, and to pretend like you don't understand that and be like, oh, well, like, yeah, well, I ranked it and like you just want to, come in here and bash and denigrate and things like that. No, I don't. But if you're talking about the dearth of numbers, then let's also talk about the incredible quality of the numbers that comprise that group. That's all that I'm saying.
To me, both numbers are meaningful. So there's a reason why both are there to be reviewed. Exactly. Football is a sport of quantity. You need quantity of players, so that number's there to be reviewed, 15th in the country. But also, there is the same number of scholarships and roster spots given to every program in the country. Therefore, if you're bringing in a small class any particular year, transfer portal aside, because that's created another variable that wasn't there a few years ago to a very small degree. But anyway, that if you have a small class one year or a large class, then that's probably going to be balanced out within the next few years with either larger or smaller classes. And what the per player rating at 5th in the country tells me is that you have your coaching staff, I'm not going to say has proven, but they've given strong indication that they can bring in that level of player is what it indicates.
Absolutely. And again, we can talk about all those guys. Nigel Kelly, he was not coming here until Mario Cristobal came here. Jaleel Skinner, same thing. Wanted to come here, but really wasn't necessarily sold with Manny Diaz. Cristobal comes in and, you have the Friday of the early signing period. And, much like with another situation previous, Alabama was fully expecting his national letter of intent. Fully expecting. And that never came because like we, we're able to do what we're able to do. But yeah, it all goes together. And Mario Cristobal, like I said, after National Signing Day last week, did say that, there's going to be some movement still. The other thing, sorry, Josh Gaddis. was the lead recruiter for Joshua Connerly Jr., the All-American left tackle from Seattle, Washington, when he was at Michigan. So, not saying like, it's not a direct correlation, but if Miami wants to put themselves in the best possible scenario to be able to get the commitment from the Anthony Munoz Offensive Lineman of the Year nationally, it's not a bad move to make. But yeah, this class, this next class is going to be, I think it's going to be bigger in number. I think that Miami has a very strong chance to contend for top 5 nationally in terms of recruiting class in 2023. And if you look at everybody who's on staff, it seems to be that linebacker is the open spot on the staff because you get 10 assistants. So Cristobal is your head coach. You have Mirabal, obviously, is all offensive line and assistant head coach. You got Kevin Smith at running back. You got Gaddis at wide receivers and offensive coordinator. Looks like you're getting Frank Ponce at quarterback coach. I think Stephen Field is going to stay at tight end. And Cristobal hired Field away from Louisville at Oregon for an off-field role a couple of years ago with the plan to put him on field the subsequent year, but Miami hired him to come back home because he's from here and played at Miami, if you didn't know that about Stephen Field. And he's going to stay, it seems. You have Kevin Steele, defensive coordinator, Joe Salavea as defensive line coach. Cristobal mentioned maybe, or Gabby Urrutia from 247 used to be a contributor at State of the U, said he heard a rumor that there might be a desire to split the defensive line and have a defensive ends and tackles coach with Salavea doing tackles and then somebody doing ends. That's potentially possible. Jamil Adai at defensive backs coach. There was a tweet today about from Cristobal about DeMarcus Van Dyke. I know that that's been a big point of contention with people. It seems that he's going to stay around. It is my hope that he gets an on-field role as cornerbacks coach. And I'm not saying that you need to go in a budget direction or, in every situation, but all of the great coaches that you can think of and know, they started somewhere. And it seems to me that DeMarcus Van Dyke can be at the beginning of a very, 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 very impressive coaching career from what he did off the field for a couple of years before he came on as the cornerbacks on-field coach last year in the world of recruiting and everything. So many players have talked about him being real, what he's done in securing talent and things like that through the recruiting process. I think that if you're going to this is someone's first chance kind of a thing to learn and grow on the job. I think DeMarcus Van Dyke is the guy for that. I think that he's like that. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. I'm going to make the analogy that he's like a 5-star upcoming coach. And so I would like to see that. And it seems that there's been whatever behind the scenes worked out because Cristobal mentioned him by name and he put then DVD put up a tweet, I'm just a kid from Miami, whatever. So I hope that in that case, then that would be that. So again, just really quick, Ponce, Smith, Gaddis, Mirabal, Field, that's 5 on offense, Steele, DVD, Adai, Salavea on defense makes 9. So then you need a linebackers coach and someone to take special teams. If those are true. Now, if they're able to get DVD to stay and not be on field, then you have 2 spots. So then you would have linebackers, special teams, linebackers and a flex coach, and you would need to assign the special teams responsibility to somebody. It would be interesting to see who gets that special teams tag because that usually goes to people who down the line are trying to position themselves to be head coaches. Because if you look at the NFL, a lot of interim coaches and guys who end up, elevating eventually, they're special teams coaches because they deal with the whole team. If you see somebody get fired in the middle of the season, there's been a couple of studies about that. Like more often than not, you're going to get the special teams coach to step up. So we have, depending on, now there's not been an announcement about any of the positional assistants yet. Any of the other ones that did not come over from Oregon because you needed to kind of put it out there that they're over here and actually working. So there's not been an announcement about Stephen Field, but again, I'm pretty sure he's going to be here because, again, I'm not saying that everybody's going to be a homeboy hookup or whatnot, but Cristobal hired him previously. And He just got Jaleel Skinner away from Alabama on the last day of the national signing of the early signing period. If that doesn't give you another at least 1 year reprieve, I don't know what does. So there's not been any announcement about that. So I think that there's either 8 or 9 on staff, depending on how it actually goes. And then we would need the other 1 to 2 to fill out the staff.